eyes are on Israel as the world awaits the nation's next move. Israeli leaders are weighing their response to Iran's dramatic missile barrage that put the international community on high alert.
Iran launched more than 300 missiles and attack drones at Israel. This marked Iran's first ever direct military assault on that country. And joining us now with more on what's next is ABC News national correspondent Matt Gutman from Tel Aviv and senior White House correspondent Selina Wang from Washington, D.C. Matt, let's start with you. I mean, this was an unprecedented attack on Israeli forces, but they managed to block 99% of those drones and missiles. How?
It was a multi-layered approach, Eva. A lot of it had to do with a massive and very powerful international coalition led by the U.S. They picked up a lot of those drones, shot them out of the sky, as they did with ballistic missiles as well. Israel picked up the slack, its own Air Force knocking out a lot of the drones. They also had anti-missile systems that for the medium range and the long range that acted and worked almost flawlessly. But the fact that it was such a big network of nations that were cooperating over a very busy and congested airspace, and they managed to deconflict it, really is unique. That's what also makes it not very replicable if Israel retaliates. And then there is another salvo of missiles from Iran. Unclear that they can get this kind of international support again, Eva.
Selina, what did President Biden tell Netanyahu after the attack?
Well, DeMarco, the president essentially told Netanyahu to take the win, that he's already demonstrated that Israel's military is superior and that from here he should take things slow, think carefully and strategically about the risk of escalation. Now, the president also made clear to Netanyahu that if Israel decides to strike back, it will do so alone. It's clear that the U.S. was willing to defend Israel, but they're not going to go on the offensive. So right now, the ball is very much in Israel's court. But despite the pressure you've seen from the president and from U.S. officials on their Israeli counterparts, a senior administration official says that they believe Israel will strike back. And so the big question here is Netanyahu going to take the pressure from the president?
Okay, Matt, we have to talk about this. So, Iran is saying this is all about retaliation. Israel's war cabinet has met. What are you hearing about what's going to happen next?
This is the second time they've met in as many days, Eva. They've been in there for hours now. We do not know the results of this meeting. Unclear if we will, even once they're over. The Israeli military definitely believes that it needs to respond somehow to that massive salvo of missiles from Iran. Otherwise, they're going to seem like a paper tiger. They need to reestablish a sense of deterrence, they say. And they say that they offered a spectrum of options to the Israeli government. Unclear what they're going to choose. But again, a lot is riding on this. And if it's too big of retaliation, it's unclear if Israel will be able to knock out all those missiles again if they come. If it's too small, does it reestablish that deterrence? It's very unclear right now. In the next couple of days are going to be, people are going to be on tenterhooks here.
And Selina, we should also point out that the president met with G7 leaders. How are world leaders responding?
Look, this really rattled global leaders, including here in the United States. In fact, one senior official said that their hand was trembling when they were taking notes after learning that more than 100 ballistic missiles could be launched. When it comes to the G7 and the meeting that the president had with them, after they convened, they released a statement expressing their full solidarity and support for Israel. That show of support, that is a shift for Israel. Remember, they've been facing months of intense and harsh criticism over their military operations in Gaza. It was less than 2 weeks ago that President Biden threatened to change U.S. policy if Netanyahu doesn't do more to protect civilians in Gaza. So all of this coming at a time when President Biden and Netanyahu, they have this very frosty relationship. So the question is, how does that factor into the way the president is able to put pressure on Netanyahu when the president's first priority is to prevent this from escalating into a wider war?
ABC's Matt Gutman and Selina Wang, thank you to you both.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.